Sindelfingen with the first round of the European Darts Grand Prix and bring to the stage a former winner on the PDC Challenge Tour. He is a former PDC World Championship finalist, the Karate Kid, Kirk Shepherd. We now bring to the stage a two-time Winmore World Masters champion and a twice winner of a PDC ranking title. It's the former Lakeside World Champion, the Bullet, Stephen Bunting!
Three games to go for you this afternoon here at the European Darts Grand Prix, live from the Glaspalast in Sindelfingen, the home of German darts, if you will, an ever-present venue on the European Tour. So good we used it twice one year. And it's the Bullet, Stephen Bunting, a former world champion, against a former world championship finalist in Kirk Shepherd. And the Bullet has been playing some really, really good stuff in patches over the last few months. Made a semi-final at the weekend on the Pro Tour. That was the fourth time in 2018 that he'd gone to the quarterfinals or further. And he's feeling confident about his game. He's hitting loads of 180s, and he will be the favourite in this one against Kirk Shepherd. Winner of this goes through to the second round and will go up against the reigning champion here in Sindelfingen, the world number 2, Peter Snakebite Wright. I'm Dan Dawson. Mike Lawrence is alongside me for Bunting versus Shepherd.
And Shepherd took some notable scalps on his way through the UK qualifiers, beating Devon Peterson 6-2, and also George Killington 6-1 and Robbie Green 6-5. Stephen Bunting seeing off Scott Taylor and Ryan Joyce to book his place here.
I'll tell you what, of late, they're two scalps themselves.
Game on.
Scott Taylor's just made his first ever PDC senior final, and Ryan Joyce has been phenomenally consistent when we've seen him playing on the Pro Tour. So winning those two games back to back is not to be sniffed at. They may not be names that people jump off the page as people thinking, oh well, that's a couple of tough games, but believe you me, lately they have been tough though.
Yes, and when you see some of the names that take part in the UK qualifiers and also the host nation European qualifiers here, it makes you realise sometimes how tough it can be to get through just the qualifiers to qualify for the main event.
82.
Well, a lot of people have been, a lot of people moan about the host nation qualifiers. Oh, we've got so many Germans and so many tournaments in Germany, and they've got so many spots. Well, hang on, Max Hopp won one. Gabriel Clemens made a semi-final on the Pro Tour at the weekend. Martin Schindler made a quarter-final on the same day.
140.
These are very, very dangerous players and in form. All three of those guys have come through the qualifiers for this tournament. Didn't go well for Clemens. We'll see Schindler in the final game of this afternoon session and Max Hopp in the most high-profile game of this evening as the German number 1 takes on the two-time Euro Tour winner,
98.
James Wade. 116 needed for Bunting here.
Get a first leg on the board for the Bullet. Treble would have left double 18. So an early chance to break for the Karate Kid.
59. Steve Uruguay, 56.
Well, misses the ball to break. Relying on Bunting missing.
36.
And miss he does.
Uruguay, 25.
Not far off, but not close enough. Double 8 then for Shepherd. And hits it, so an early break of throw.
Second leg is Kirk to throw first. Game on.
And yes, Bunting looking to recapture some of that form that he showed when he first made the switch to the PDC back in 2014.
99.
And took part in the Premier League the following year. And picked up a couple of PDC titles in that time.
140.
Yeah, won this in his second event, and then almost 2 years to the day afterwards, he won his second one, beating Michael van Gerwen in the final. And that's just kept him hovering around in that top 32 in the rankings. But it's about time he picked up another, and it did look as if it might have been
100.
the other day, Stephen Bunting. But he ended up losing in the semi-finals on Sunday in Wigan. Beaten by the Ferret, Johnny Clayton, who in turn was beaten by the Black Cobra, Jeffrey Desvan, in the final.
Johnny Clayton playing very well at the moment. Obviously picked up the last European Tour
59.
event victory in Austria, seeing off Gerwin Price in the final.
Yeah, and he beat Michael van Gerwen on Sunday as well, Johnny Clayton, as Kirk Shepherd produces the first maximum of this one, leaves himself 62 to double his lead.
58. Kirk 62.
So treble 10, 52 now, double 16. Oh well,
46.
wrong side, but we'll come back for that exact same double. Unless Bunting can take this out, won't happen now.
108. Kirk 16. Cash on the second leg, Kirk Shepherd.
Oh, just hits the target that he accidentally hit last time out, and Kirk Shepherd does double his lead. So the shock is very much on here. But
Shepherd's form not been too much to write home about in recent months. His best showing of last year was a quarter-final berth at a Players' Championship event in Wigan.
99.
Having gone back to Q School at the start of 2017 to get his tour card.
$59.
yeah, had a couple of years on the Challenge Tour prior to that. Did win one of those. And one of a number of players
97.
that seems to have benefited from a bit of time on the Challenge Tour, whether it be a year or two, just get back to winning ways, keep up that regular grind of leisure-centred darts on weekends.
58.
And then ends up spurring them on to go back and get their tour card.
137.
And he was very good over the course of Q School at the start of last year. Kirk Shepherd, last 16 on the first day, quarter-final on the third day, and then outright qualify on the final day. So he knew he got enough points by the time he won his tour card automatically, but very much like Paul Nicholson, just wanted to go and do it and prove that he could be the best player on the day, or one of the best players on the day. And he's looking like the better player here against Stephen Bunting, because he's left himself double 16 after just 4 visits to the board.
Yes, throwing very well indeed.
95. Kirk 32.
Looking at double 16 for a 3-0 lead and halfway towards victory. And a place in round 2 against Peter Wright, the reigning European Darts Grand Prix champion.
Yeah, and that 13 darter was a break of throw, so it's 2 breaks of throw that Kirk Shepherd has. There's an awful lot of work for Stephen Bunting to do if he is going to turn this around. Because at the minute, Kirk Shepherd is averaging in the high 90s, around about that. Well, in fact, it's just clipped over 100. And Bunting is nowhere near that.
100.
Incredible to think it's a decade ago since Kirk Shepherd had that incredible run to the World Championship final. The youngest ever finalist at the time, beaten by
100.
John Part in that final, but really put him on the map big time in 2008 World Championships.
59.
Yeah, he was completely unprepared for that, Kirk Shepherd. And he brought 1 change of clothes. Mum had to send some more. Didn't realise that his
91.
World Championship campaign was going to last longer than one night.
Well, this would be some way to...
3 false starts there for Kirk Shepherd.
This would be some way for Bunting to get off the mark, and boy does he need it. The biggest outshot of all, and it won't happen.
And that last dart in the 60 from Kirk Shepherd
60.
could prove to be a vital one. Only one treble needed here. Treble 19. Not to be then, but Bunting is still looking at a ton plus. And the way he's going, you're not really sure he's going to get a dart for the leg, let alone take it. He should get a dart for the leg. He does get a dart for the leg. And he does take it. Stephen Bunting does get a first leg. It is a break, and maybe the bullet is in this game now.
Game on.
Yes, he needed that because Shepherd was really in danger of running away from it with it.
70.
Still plenty to do though for Bunting, but that clean checkout will give him a boost.
60.
Coming up next, we've got Alan Tabern, who's been rolling back the years and putting in some
83.
good performances of late, up against one of the Dutch qualifiers who come through the European qualifiers last night, Matt Skies.
150.
Then the afternoon session finishes off with the Welshman Robert Owen up against one of the host nation qualifiers, Martin Schindler.
$140. 140.
Bunting just missing out on a maximum. He has hit 99 maximums in the 10 Players Championship events. Only 6 players have hit more than he has.
60.
Cut the gap to just a leg, and it's a 14 darter, and this is much more like the Stephen Bunting that we know.
Yeah, starting to find his range now, you feel.
140.
Yeah, it's a good stat about the number of maximums Bunting is capable of hitting.
Here's one. Oh.
140.
Close. Bunting man, he stands very, very far over to the right-hand side of the oddly,
125.
a lot of the time we see him just like line his darts up next to each other rather than going above or below like some other players would do. Coming in from that right-hand side, you can see that angle, that second dart as it was coming in.
140.
Somehow he's found it the other side of that original dart.
Well, kicking off this leg with 2-ton 40s.
Kirk Shepherd's darts go all over the place. The point will end up where he's aiming generally. It's just they point in various different directions. They lie up, they kick down, they kick to the side. All sorts going on there. Must be quite frustrating, quite difficult for Kirk Shepherd to be able to use them. You know, you see that kicks up a lot. That one's kicking over to the side.
58.
Well, Bunting's already taken out 110 once.
Ooh, a poor dart at treble 18 there.
42.
Kirk Shepherd looking at the 118. Big visit this. Always very difficult to find the treble 20 after that first dart.
Stephen, you require 68.
So for a level game, which maybe looked unlikely just a few minutes ago, double 4, double 2.
64. You require 24.
Was that his big chance? It may have been, because Kirk Shepherd has re-established that 2-leg gap. In the last 3 legs, Stephen Bunting has gone from being 3-0 down to having darts for 3-all, and he has raised his average by almost 10 points at one stage. Those missed darts at the end there have seen it drop down to 93, but very close to where Kirk Shepherd is.
140.
But he did find an extra couple of gears, Stephen Bunting, in the last 2 or 3 legs, and he has not made the most of it by missing those chances to level at 3 apiece, and it might well prove to be the pivotal moment in this game.
Yes, indeed.
47.
2 darts missed in the very first leg by Bunting, 2 darts missed in that last leg by the Bullet. Very good finishing from the Karate Kid, though. Not sure if Kirk actually practices any
134.
karate now.
180.
Maximum number 2 for Kirk Shepherd. Still waiting on one from Bunting.
At one point, he was known as the martial dartist, wasn't he, Kirk Shepherd?
134.
Some players there would have been looking at tops, but Kirk decided he wanted treble 16 for double. In the end, he has left himself 3 clear darts at a double, and he is going to get a go at him for another break. And what you feel may be a nail in the Bullet's coffin.
16.
Great marker for double 8. Can he slide that in? Yes, he can, right in the corner for a 5-2 lead. And 1 leg away now from victory and a place in round 2 against Peter Wright tomorrow. And he's throwing here. That was another important break.
84.
Kirk Shepherd did play, well, he has played on the Euro Tour before now. He did win his opening game at the German Darts Open. That's when he beat Simon Stevenson pretty convincingly, but then was beaten by Gerwyn Price in the second round.
86.
Last year we saw him at the Dutch Darts Masters again. Got through his first round, but couldn't go any further. So at the German Darts Championship start that year, that was a first round exit, so you've got to keep digging back through the records to find when Kirk Shepherd has actually gone deep into any sort of big stage tournament.
100.
Bunting just one other appearance this year on the European Tour in Munich, the second event, being beaten by Ian White 6-4 there.
100.
And the former Lakeside World Champion needs to
120.
dig very deep if he's to come back from this position. With Shepherd down to the dreaded Nelson, as they say in cricket, 111.
111.
It could end right now for Stephen Bunting. Double 16 for Shepherd.
79.
Misses outside, but the likelihood is he is going to come back and have another crack at that double 16. Bunting is looking at 2 trebles to get a dart at a double, and he's not going to do it. And it looks like the former Lakeside World Champion is going out in the very first round here in Sindelfingen.
Double 16 for the match. It's another good marker, and yes, a very good marker indeed. Kirk Shepherd then sees off an out-of-sorts Stephen Bunting to book his place in round 2, where he'll take on the number 2 seed Peter Wright tomorrow. Coming up next, we have one of the European Tour qualifiers, the Dutchman Matt Gies, up against the veteran Alan Tabben. That's after Dan has had a few words with Kirk Shepherd.
Congratulations, Kirk. Thank you. First round drawn against a former world champion who's just had a decent run on the Pro Tour. You knew it was going to be tough, but you played some pretty decent stuff there.
Yeah, went all right, you know, couple of slack in between, but whenever you know you're playing Stephen, you've got to, there's no room for error, and I was fortunate that he didn't play as well as he can, and I think that was a difference, really, you know.
He came back from 3-0 down, had a couple of darts to level the match. That seemed to be a pivotal moment in the game. When you're in the middle of a match yourself, are you aware and thinking, that's it, that's the moment that I've got him?
Well, never against Stephen. You always know what he's capable of. Obviously, I've got 3 darts the same as him. It's what I do with them, but you know what Stephen can do, so there's no room for error. You know, you've got to take chances and what have you, and I'm just grateful to get through, to be honest.
We've seen you on the Euro Tour before, and you've managed to win your opening game, but that second round where you're playing a seeded player has always been a hurdle that's just been a bit too much so far. It's not an easy one tomorrow in Peter Wright, the defending champion.
Yeah, defending champion, Peter Wright, Premier League player, fantastic. I'll try my best. That's what I'll do. I'll try my best.
Kirk Shepherd, he will be taking on the defending champion here in Sindelfingen tomorrow, Peter Snakebite Wright.